Hey guys, welcome on back to the Anchorage. We haven't done this series in a little while, so I'm going to do one today because it's time for me to make a little more, and I like this really a lot. I like it a lot. It's what it is actually something akin to tuna salad, but we're going to stretch that tuna by turning it into tuna today on Dinner Quest. Alright, so we are going to get started. I've got all my little fixings here and everything like that. So basically, something to mix it all together in. Need a can opener. I'm going to be using my Ninja food processor. I've got a fork for mixing. I'll tell you about that in a little bit. Here's a spoon for mayo. Going to need some paper towels for this. My method is kind of picky, but you know, it's pretty good. And then what we're going to need is the actual proteins, the actual meats. So what you want to get is solid white albacore tuna. So solid. This is why we're using the food processor, because we're going to be breaking it down a little bit, but we're not going to turn it into chunk or flake or anything like that. We want something we can chew, so we want to use solid tuna. And then you also want to get a small can of chunk white chicken in water. So these are both from Market Basket. They've got a deal. Their current pricing is something similar. See, as far as the tuna goes, it's 3 for $5, I believe it is. And on the chicken, it's like 2 for $4. So the chicken's a little more expensive, but at the same time, it's the Market Basket brand. It's just their house brand. They've got baskets upon baskets of this stuff on at the shelves. So what we are going to do is we are going to essentially crack these open and drain them, and then we're going to get them into here and into here. Alright, so I've moved over here to the sink, and what I'm going to do first is I'm just going to crack this open a little bit. This is the chicken, and it's got a, you just open it like that. It's got its own little pull tab, and of course we start draining the water. So I'm just going to pull that just a little more, and I'm going to put this off to the side to allow that to drain. And as far as the tuna goes, no pull tab on those cans. Why, I don't know. So I'm going to open it. Alright, so that's open. You'll leave the lid in there. I'm going to pour it like that, and then I'm going to just take my thumbs and just kind of squeeze out as much of the juice / water as I can. So do that, put that off to the side, and then I'm going to take the lid off of the chicken. It's also good to have this here so you can rinse your hands, because you're going to get stuff on your hands, so clean it off. Alright, so now that we've got those like that, we still need to get all the moisture out. So it's still full of water, so what I want to do is this is where the paper towels come in. Take that, slap it on like that, put this in the sink, and then we just fold that over and just give it a press to absorb as much of the water as we can. And then we just pick this up and we just break it up and put it inside of the processor loosely. So there we go. Now as far as the chicken goes, it's all in there. We're going to use the same bunch of paper towels. Do the same thing, just dump it all in there, throw that in the sink, and do the same thing. Okay, and then that goes into the food processor decanter holder box thingy. And now this has a lot of tuna smell, chicken smell, stuff like that. Well, I've got a secret for that. And that secret is rinsing it off in the sink. So in order to prevent some smells from getting out of your trash can and stuff like that, might as well just sop this up and wring it out. And now that that's wrung out, I can throw it away because we don't need it anymore at this point. So I'm going to throw that out. There's that. Okay. And now I'm going to rinse out the cans. Now this is all to help reduce any nasty smells in your garbage. So, if you recycle, do it. We don't in my town, or at least in my complex, because of money, the costs involved and stuff like that. Plus, the people don't use those things, those recycling dumpsters, the proper way. So, we don't bother with them. And now that we got that in there, we need to bring this on over, throw it on here, get this plugged in, and then we're going to pulse it. Now what we're going to do with this is that we don't want this to break it all down into the consistency of chunk or flake. We just want to give it a quick little thing just to break it down a little more. We still want pieces and chunks and stuff like that in there that we can chew. We want texture. So there we go. So I'm actually going to just give this two quick little pulses. And that's it. Unplug that. There we go. I have to hit it because it's a little dirty inside. Not a big deal. Okay, next step. Now that we have this chopped, more or less, we can take that off, put that in the sink. Take the blade out, put that in the sink. And then we can pour everything into the bowl. Okay, and then that goes in the sink. There we go. All right. Now here's where the fork comes into play after I do the scoopage. When you go to do the scoopage, tablespoons, perfectly fine, and you want to grab your mayo. So at this time you can throw in any seasonings that you want to put in there. I like to put garlic pepper in, or garlic salt or garlic pepper in there, garlic powder straight up, parsley. You know, if you want to throw anything else in there that you want to help do that, that's fine. Some dehydrated onion if you wish, or fresh. You can do fresh ingredients. Get all that in there right now. Me, I'm on a kick where I just want just straight meat and mayo. So that's what I'm going to do. This is Cane's mayo, and this is what I grew up with, and so that's what I like. And I like the vinegary taste that comes with it. So I'm going to put 3 heaping tablespoons of this in here. About like that. Put that in the sink. Quick wipe there. Now here's where the fork comes in. This is for the mixing part of it. This is what my mother used to do. She'd put it in there and then she would basically mush it all together. You know, so you do a fold and mush. So we're going to take care of that real quick. Yeah, and her method was always to squish. And look at that. Isn't that beautiful? That's fantastic. It's awesome. All right. Now we need to transfer this to a container. I've got a glass dish here. It fits in here perfectly. I recommend using glass because, you know, it's glass. It's not plastic. You can use the plastic containers if you want, but you know, I don't want the microplastics to evaporate off or anything like that. So I use glass and I just scoop it on in there. And after that, you just kind of squish it down in there just to set it in. And then I'm naughty, so I like to take a little piece and eat it right away. There we go. And then this can go in the fridge and chill. Alright, so now that we've got that done, it's in the fridge, it's chilling. I'm going to take some time here to clean up and get things put away and everything like that, because I'm all done with all this stuff, so I can put it all away, including the mayo, because it's still sitting right there. So I'm going to go take care of that stuff, and I'll be right back. Alright, now since that is all done, I've cleaned up, everything's put away, closed my vertical blinds because it's just too dang bright out there. It's overcast, but neither sense. So while that's chilling, quick little story. Growing up, my mother used to make tuna salad, but she wouldn't add any chicken to it. What she would do is she would just take chunk or flake. That was like the typical, and she would open up the can, and then she'd wring out the water in the can into the sink, and then she would just put it straight into a bowl, and then she'd put in mayonnaise, and here's the weird part. Now, some people might like this, other people might go, oh my God, what are you doing? My mother used to put in sweet gherkins, sweet gherkin pickles into that. She would cut them all up with a paring knife. I remember the exact image of it. And she'd put in about 4 or 5-ish, depending on the size of them. And then she'd mix it all in there, and then we just slap it on pieces of bread, and that was our sandwich. So now over the years, I've got food service experience myself, and I learned the little tricks about making sure I didn't have too much mayo in the salad. So so at first it was like, I wasn't quite sure about it, and then I got a little guidance, and there we go. And now today it comes out either the perfect amount or slightly less, and I'll tell you about that when we actually go to assemble one. I have to wait for it to chill, and it's just after 11. I'm going to give it an hour, and we're going to come on back, and I'm going to eat. Alright, okay, so here I am, and I've got it all made up and everything like that. I have allowed it to chill for the hour, and I've made it up, and I've got it on a hamburger bun. These hamburger buns I'm using are just from Hannaford. It's just this generic store brand hamburger buns, cost effectiveness, stuff like that. And for something else to go along with it, I've got some barbecue chips. These ones happen to be a Hannaford brand kettle cooked barbecue flavor, and they're very tasty. It's got a little bit of a smoky kind of flavor to it. It's very nice. It provides a good crunch, and I wasn't looking for just ordinary barbecue chips, but Hannaford doesn't seem to carry those. At least this one doesn't. It doesn't look like they do, but at the same time. And for beverage, I've just got orange soda. It's a Sunkist. I have it during lunch, and this bottle I've been working on since around this time yesterday. I'm basically milk it, stuff like that. So why don't I try a chip first? So let me get a small one. I'm gonna take a small bite. Good texture, good crunch. It's got that smoky flavor to it. It's very nice. Okay, so now I'm gonna go into the sandwich. Now for the sandwich, if you want a little more the flavor of the vinegary side of things, add a little more mayo. That's what I did. And what I also do is I sprinkle on some McCormick ground pepper. I use the ground pepper from the container, this cardboard, and because it has more of the pepper flavor and not so much of the spiciness of the pepper. All right, let's give this a try. It's really, really good. The tuna, because it was chopped up in the food processor, the pieces are still of good size, good enough to chew. So there, we got that. The additional chicken, really, really good. Don't taste a whole lot of the chicken. The chicken is meant to be, adding to it to help stretch it out. And also what it does is, all the health concerns about heavy metals in tuna, namely mercury. What the chicken does is by adding in chicken, they're basically diluting the concentration of the mercury down a little bit. Maybe insignificant as far as the amount goes, but it's still there, and that's all I'm concerned with, really. And stretching out the total amount over more than a day, so I get a couple 3 days out of it. It's great. So that's what I'm going to do with that. So I'm going to do that, have my beverage, and yeah. So thanks for coming along. Skål. I'll talk to you later.